The presidential election is coming up, and if you still can't decide between the candidates, here is a side by side rundown of where the candidates stand on international relations, diplomacy, and war. The first big issue is NATO. Ronald Reagan believed that NATO was the bulwark against communist aggression. Reagan regularly touted the benefits and the value of NATO as the primary military force protecting the West against expansion by the group of countries led by Russia. NATO, for Reagan, specifically stood for protecting the West from Russian interests, at the time referred to as Soviet interests. Donald Trump has said that he would urge Russia to do whatever the hell it wants to our NATO allies. Biden and the Harris administration, were she elected, said that they would defend every inch of NATO territory. Every inch is what Biden said. Harris has expressed the same commitment. This is a basic commitment to a treaty that the United States signed. That's a pretty easy distinction. The thing about what Russia is doing what they threatened to do all throughout the Cold War, which is seize land in Europe. What Russia is doing specifically in Ukraine and what it's threatening to do elsewhere, and always has, not opposing that, is plainly flying in the face of the Reagan conception of NATO. Dick Cheney's daughter, Liz Cheney, said that the speech that Kamala Harris gave at her convention is a speech that Reagan could have given. This brings us to the foreign policy elephant in the room, which is Gaza. There has been a lot of consternation on the left about the Biden administration's support for Israel. There's been a lot of consternation on the right about the United States' faltering support for Israel. Here's the reality. Trump and Netanyahu are very close, always have been. They've made no bones about it. Trump would hand Gaza to Netanyahu on a platter. Trump has criticized what tiny amount of pushback the Biden administration has made to Israel's war machine in Gaza. Remember, it was Trump who instituted what he called a Muslim ban, a ban on Muslims entering the country. This is a person who has expressed unqualified support for Israel's military operations in Gaza and in Lebanon. Trump is a person whom Gazans and Palestinians and Muslims writ large cannot consider a friend by any reasonable stretch. Harris, by contrast, has taken a balanced approach that's become typical of American politicians, but at the very least recognizes the difficult moral duality of the situation. She says, while Israel has a right to defend itself and that the hostages have to be freed, the humanitarian catastrophe that is what's happening in Gaza as a result of Israel's war machine has to stop. She has supported the United States withholding arms or threatening to withhold arms if Israel crosses certain lines. Could she be pushed further? Yes. Could Donald Trump be pushed at all to benefit Palestinians, to benefit Gazans, or to benefit Muslims here at home? Probably not. If you're looking for a return to a moderate centrism that Ronald Reagan once embodied, if you're looking for a return to a balanced approach that recognizes the complex moral world in which we live, this is a pretty clear choice.